Hey everyone, wanted to do a video on my Masami Hirosaka 89, somewhat replica, somewhat not replica, tribute perhaps, Yokomo 870C. So I'll walk you through this and kind of what I've done. This thing kind of just stays on the shelf because I like to look at it. But the first thing is the body was custom painted by Rubik's Racing. So that was painted up. Turned out fantastic. All the flames are painted. The sideboard's painted. The miscellaneous decals are MCI Racing decals. I mean, that's kind of the go-to for everybody. Rear wing is off eBay. So that was, if you search on eBay and you look for like RC10 vintage wing or anything like that, comes close, that should pop up. And that was like 20 bucks, MCI decals. And then, of course, the PS20 paint. I painted the bulkheads. If you are going to paint the bulkheads or any of the plastic pieces, it is, I want to say it's TS20 is that. You try to paint that with regular Lexan paint, it's not going to take and it's going to come off. It's going to kind of stay gummy. Ask me how I know. So those have been painted. And then, like I said, little things here and there. So I did do fan RC shocks, 0.71s in the front, 1.02s in the back. I did a number of racing components. So did their TI turnbuckles, also did their hubs, carriers, as well as some other stuff. And then this one has extreme racing shock towers and top deck. So on this, the geometry doesn't change too much from stock. So the 0.71s, 0.56s are probably the more accurate shock to have on here, but I like the 0.71s. A little bit bigger body in there, a little bit more stroke. But chassis bottoms out right as the shocks almost do, so this thing's nice and plush. Also was able to widen out the front end, and I did those. These are the EXO Designs extended drive shafts, and the one thing about these is you do have to use the thin wheel spacer on the front, and they just barely. I mean, the nice thing is they're absolutely flush with the thin. If you use the thicker one, that would be inward and you wouldn't have as much contact area. And then Yokomo 2.2 wheels as well. So this one was actually the first 870 Riri I ever got and started building. So take the body off here. This one I was going to build and I was going to race it. And then by the time I finished it, I just couldn't do it. So I bought a different 870 Riri kit and started on that. So if you look at my video library, you'll see a video on my modern day 870C runner, which is fantastic. I love that thing. So I'm hoping to get it out. Now, my wife gave me a hall pass for next weekend, guys. So hopefully some run videos. Not only that, but the fan graphite RC10, I'll probably race that. I don't know if I'll have the Masami done by then, the long arm RC10. I'm waiting on some components for that. I did pick up some electronics, but that might be a little bit of a scramble to try to get that thing done. But I'm going to try, because if I could race that back to back with the fan RC10 graphite, that'd be fantastic. And then unfortunately more, I shouldn't say unfortunately more, Rumble in the Rockies 30th anniversary is happening February 14th, 15th, 16th weekend. So it's going to be a pretty busy week leading up to that. So I don't know if I'll get much track time. And unfortunately I didn't get signed up for that. Because there is no vintage class, and I just don't care to run the modern stuff, which you kind of see in the background there. So don't care for that stuff much, but when I do race it, I do. So I will eventually get that B74.1 and my B7 out one of these days to race those. But I have so much fun with this other stuff that I really don't care. So on walking through this, do have the racing bell cranks in there in that bell crank system. Like I said, since I'm not racing, it doesn't really matter much. All the green bling is off Amazon, so these are all M3 washers and nuts. Those are easy to get off there. Extreme Racing carbon fiber servo holder or bridge with a reedy servo, and then just using a cheap Hobby Wing quick run ESC. I just like that it was red, so I bought that. I did have my receiver in here because I would run this around in my basement a little bit. And then, like I said, I couldn't bring myself to do it. So I started building a different Yokomo 870. And the thing is super smooth. I love this thing. And that's actually what kind of got me into thinking I could race one of these. So also have the aluminum pulleys in the back from Yeah Racing. Obviously a Yeah Racing battery bridge. Did put little foam spacers in there. Mounted up some 5mm plugs using a Reedy Radon 15 turn motor. Also got rid of the, I think it's an 81 or 84 spur, and I'm running a 78 on here, I think, on there. And then a lot of the car is kind of just stock after that. Like I said, in the rear, the hub carriers are Yeah Racing on both ends, titanium turnbuckles. Again, using the kind of wheel collars you get off an RC airplane to connect the sway bar and get rid of the mushroom clips. Extreme Racing top deck, Fan RC 1.02 shocks with green springs, and that's and some titanium stainless hardware kind of throughout. I've just kind of done that. And then also on all my Yokomo 870s, I do run a factory team servo horn. I believe this is the 15.5 millimeter length on there. And I run that in all my Yokomos. Be running that in my 91 Works as well. So if anyone's wondering, the Yokomo Works project, it's over there. Body's painted, chassis kind of getting assembled, getting some other parts in. I got to paint the under tray today. We'll get that done. And then we'll start working on our Yokomo Works 91 project and see what crosses over from the 870, because they are very similar as far as that goes. And start getting a runner built there. Since I painted my race body, I'm going to try to make that a runner probably for the 2025 season. And my 870C that I run, I may just retire that. Either pull the electronics out of that depending on layout, or I'll just keep them in there and I'll buy new electronics for that and run that. Like I said, I usually standardize and buy the same electronics all the time. So either a G2 100 amp stock spec low profile ESC has always worked great. Or I might put a Pro in the 91, just cause, put a Pro in there, and then, servo and all that. And then the same motor, I'll probably be putting a Reedy motor, because I do run a Reedy motor in my 870. So I may put a Reedy motor in there or something else. I do like I'm still a big fan of the Surpass rockets that are available. Like I said, I run one of those in my graphite. I have one of those slated to put in the Masami edition back there in a 21.5. So I may order a 17.5 from them and put that in there. Or maybe an R1 Works too. I've had a lot of good luck with the R1 Works motors. I run that kind of in all my other cars. I do have an R1 Works in my B7 as well. And those always run cool. Always are really strong. So just wanted to do kind of a quick video on my Masami replica and everything that went into this, and parts, pieces are all still really available. So you can find all this stuff either on eBay or through like Yeah Racing's website or their eBay store as well. And man, this thing is like super smooth. Love it. And all my 870s are actually super smooth. I don't know why I'm so surprised, but I thought being an ancient vehicle, they'd be a little bit more crickety. But the re-releases are great, guys. So like I said, I kind of went... got this one done, and I didn't really want to race it, so I bought another one, and that's where I fell in a deep dive hole of vintage RC racing, and I haven't stopped. So if you have any questions, comments, list them down below. I'll write back to you. I'm pretty good at responding to comments or emails as well. So I just wanted to get this together, get this out, and then I think the next video, I have one more Yokomo 870 I think it's pretty cool. It's a Kinwald-esque type inspired build, so Kinwald painted body. And that one in particular has a neo vintage chassis. So it moves the battery to the other side, low profile servo. Everything else goes on this side, receiver, speed controller, fan for the motor, and then motor on that side as well. And I know some people move the servo, the Exo Designs, I think, moves it over to here and then just has the battery on this side. But the new vintage chassis is pretty cool. It also offers rear belt adjustability. which was kind of harder to set up. You know, these rear belts are just locked in and the tension's the tension. And then you get a tensioner on here and then same thing on the Neo Vintage chassis, or I know sometimes Michael drilled a hole and used a 91 Works tensioner on there. And then also if on these with the lock tension, if you look at Dr. MOSFET's channel, he does have a little tutorial on, I think, the motor bolt up here. He actually puts 2 bearings and stuff on there and creates kind of a pulley in there to tension that belt a little bit more. But unless you're running something like a 10.5 or 13.5, I don't know how much that's going to affect that belt tension back there. Like I said, I've ran 17.5 in mine, and that's been plenty for more. And that's an active 4-wheel drive class that has plenty of people showing up, so I don't have to worry if there's a class or not, and that's what I run mine in. And I have destroyed one rear pulley, and I think it was because I had my brakes too high. So when I was entering a corner, you know, slamming on those brakes, I think would get that belt to skip, and eventually the pulleys tore the belt apart. Or it could have just been a bad Yokomo belt, but I did turn down my brake expo down to, I think, like 78 or 76. Still have plenty of brake, hasn't been a problem. I did replace the rear belt with a Racing belt, and it has been fine. It's got 3 races on it and no degradation at all. So maybe, like I said, it was just a belt thing. Maybe it was just an older belt or something like that that was in inventory. And I think the Racings are maybe better quality. So we'll see as we race that thing. But that thing may not get raced anymore either. So we're working on our 91 Works. We'll have that one up soon. And look for the Kinwald build next, because that one is pretty cool. It's all finished, but I will get that out the door next week. Thanks, guys.